If your motorcycle currently has a puncture and you're trying to plug it right now, click the link in the description to watch a tutorial by someone who actually knows what they're doing. This video is my experience plugging a motorcycle tire for the first time, which, as my returning viewers have probably guessed by now, didn't go perfectly. I'm Elliot, you're watching Van Blam. Roll the intro. Recently, I was riding my Triumph Speed Twin 1200 and picked up a nail in the rear tire. This is my first ever puncture in nearly 10 years of riding, and even more amazingly, it's my first puncture in nearly 3 years of living in downtown Washington, D.C. If you've never lived in a big city, you have no idea how much sharp crap is constantly on the ground here. At any given time, 3 or 4 of the row houses that share the alley behind my apartment are undergoing renovation. That means there are white pickups with ladder racks on them rattling up and down the alley day in and day out, spewing debris in all directions. The amount of nails and screws they lose as they drive by is staggering. It's as if they simply radiate sharp objects in the way a plutonium core radiates neutrons. Then there's the road work. Oh, the road work. DC is a labyrinth of orange cones and shredded asphalt. And although the road crews aren't quite as careless as the GCs, the condition of these streets is still, well, you can hardly even call them streets anymore. This is off-roading. I am ridiculously lucky for having lived here this long before getting a flat. Hell, Coda's car has like 7 patches among its 4 tires. Anyway, let's talk about dealing with this puncture. Fortunately, my Speed Twin runs tubeless tires, which, unlike inner tube tires, can be plugged. The tire plugger kit I rely on is the Stop and Go T-handle rope plug kit. I used to carry their mushroom plug kit before I learned that it isn't very good, so now I use this one, which happens to be more compact and much less expensive. Open up the kit and give it a sniff. Inside, you'll find a T-handle reamer, a T-handle rope plug driver, more rope plugs than you'll ever need at any one time, a tube of rubber cement, and a tiny razor blade. Not included in the kit, but also essential to have at hand, are a tool for removing foreign objects from your tire and a means of reinflating your tire after plugging the puncture. For reinflation, I have this CO2 cartridge that I pilfered from the mushroom plug kit. If you're on the side of the road, this will put enough air into your plugged tire to get you to a gas station. But since I had the luxury of discovering this puncture while visiting my parents, I can just use the air pump in their garage. Step 1. Remove the offending object from your tire. I used a pry bar, but I'd recommend gripping it with pliers instead. Otherwise, the next thing getting a puncture might be you. Now that the nail is out, we can verify that it was less than 7 millimeters in diameter, which is generally the largest size puncture you can safely plug. Step 2. Use the T-handle reamer to clean the puncture and make it wide enough to accept a rope plug. Getting through the steel-belted carcass of the tire will take some effort, but it's necessary to run the tool through there a few times. Step 3. Thread a sticky rope plug into the T-handle rope plug driver. Once it's halfway through, cover it and the tip of the driver in rubber cement. Push the plug into the hole until about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of it is sticking out. Remove the rope plug driver in one quick motion. The tip of the driver is split, so it will leave the rope plug behind. Step 4. Take the razor blade and cut the protruding tail off of the plug. Just be careful not to take off a slice of the tire along with it. You've got to be kidding me. What did I just say? At this point, I wasn't sure if my plug was going to work. It may have lost a little too much of its tail, which, along with the missing chunk of tire, could mean an incomplete seal. You can see it's buried pretty far in there. I decided to check it by filling the tire up to operating pressure and pouring some soapy water over the puncture. Sure enough, we got bubbles. Lucky for me, you can easily redo a rope plug by simply repeating all previous steps. There's no need to remove the old plug either, just push it completely inside the tire. To help unseat the cemented plug, I started by reinstalling the offending nail. After that, I simply retraced my steps and used a little more discretion with the razor blade. After airing up again, my replugged plug passed the soap test. With that, I finally felt confident enough to hit the road. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've done all my normal commuting and running around on this bike and haven't had any problems. In fact, you can hardly even see the plug anymore. It's recommended that you don't exceed 75 miles an hour when riding on a plug tire until you've had it patched internally, which would be considered a permanent repair. Now, you'll hear loads of stories online about people abusing the hell out of plug tires without issue, but I'm still not taking any chances with this one. I know that rope plugs can be trusted, I just don't know how much a rope plug that was installed by me can be trusted. I doubt Ari Henning had accidentally carved off a chunk of the plug tire he rode from LA to Boston. I'm choosing to keep it under 75, and that works for my day-to-day riding. So that's the rear tire plugged. Now the question of what to do next. I have 3 options. 1, continue running this tire for the rest of its life. 2, get the tire permanently repaired with an internal patch. Or 3, get a new tire. If these tires were brand new, it would be a no-brainer. I would just pay the $150 or whatever it costs to get them patched and live happily ever after. And if the tread were down to the wear bars, it would also be a no-brainer. It would just be time for a new set. But these tires are neither brand new nor well-worn. I would say they have about 2,000 miles of tread left in them. What do you mean only 2,000 more miles? They're practically new. Look at all that tread on the sides. Thanks for noticing. But believe it or not, this particular pair of Michelin Road 5s have covered over 9,000 miles.
What, 9,000?
My bike gets ridden like a cruiser 95% of the time, just commuting on city streets and slogging it down boring highways. Even on the rare occasions when I'm able to go log 100 miles in the mountains, I have to cruise 200 miles of freeway getting there and back. The result is a tire that looks like this. Meaty on the sides, bony in the center. Almost bony enough to justify replacing. For a while there, I was considering just getting new tires regardless. The Speed Twin goes into the dealership in a couple weeks for its 20,000 mile service, which I thought would be a great time to get the tires changed while I'm in there. I hate the hassle of taking my bike in for service of any kind, so the opportunity to kill 2 birds with 1 stone might have been worth sacrificing a little bit of usable tread. But I've now ridden on this plug for a few weeks, exceeding that 75 mile an hour speed limit here and there, and also covering plenty of miles on the horrible streets of downtown DC, and I haven't lost a single pound of pressure. Even though it was installed by me, I feel like I have just enough confidence in this plug to ride on it for the rest of the tire's life. I am hoping to set off on a nice little road trip this fall, so we'll see how I'm feeling about the remaining life in the days or weeks leading up to my departure. Maybe I'll want to start the trip on fresh rubber. We'll just have to see. If I have one takeaway from all this, it's that there is no substitute for experience. Just like you should practice emergency maneuvers in a parking lot every so often, you should also practice emergency repairs whenever you get the chance. Next time your tires are due to be changed, before heading to the shop, run 1 or 2 holes into them so you can get some experience installing rope plugs. If you can get all the little mistakes out of your system at home, you'll have less to worry about when you catch a roofing nail on your next visit to DC. Now I want to hear from you guys. What's the most inconvenient time and place that you've ever gotten a puncture in your motorcycle tire, and how did you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I've got for you today. Ride safe, and I'll see you next time.